All right. Well, this is a little bit different. So right now it is 4:53 a.m. Got my caffeine. This is coffee. It's not doesn't look like coffee. Look at that. It looks like caffeinated milk. But that's because I don't like my coffee so bitter. I'm into sweets if you couldn't tell. All right. So, Devlog-002 and last night, we were able to transfer over that code, the in app purchase code, into the app project. I don't even know what I want to do right now. I'm like not used to being awake yet. My brain is not even on yet. So, what I know that we need to do is we need to actually finish connecting the UI to our in-app purchase code so that we can list out the information based off of the product. So, for example, we have a monthly and an annual subscription membership that's available. And right now, I'm currently hard coding the cost of the monthly and the annual on the button. So let's take a look at that actually. All right, so this is the project, this is the app. I have to find out where to actually change that one screen. It should be on home screen and then in the view model. Yeah, this is the property that I changed last night. All right, it should show paywall. We'll just turn that to true. Then we also have to check if we do have a subscription here. And then we need to like save that to the keychain. So yeah. Oh yeah. Caffeine for the win. Is it running? Where did it go? All right. Cool. All right. Can't dismiss. I thought there was a little bit of oh, maybe I changed it last night. I can't remember. Anyways, okay. So when we press it, we get the annual and we get the monthly. It's showing, but essentially, like this right here, pay $4.99 per month. Um, um, and then we also need to change the text right here. So then pay $4.99 annually. So we need to change that, but essentially we need to pull these numbers from our object instead of hard coding them. So let's go ahead and try to do that. So that's going to be under paywall screen. I think for the year can be potentially misleading. Like, oh, you just pay, like that would be an example of a non-renewable subscription. So like you would still get the year, but it doesn't necessarily auto renew. You would just be prompted to renew. All right. And then we have that, and we needed to change what else? I am still asleep, guys. Ew, this needs padding at the top. Let's fix that. What about at the bottom? How's it looking at the bottom? Looks fine at the bottom. But is it because it's okay, so this has padding vertically. Okay. So let's just say top right here. I can't remember what best practice is right now. And then we'll just say padding right here. Let's get that UI changed because I don't even know what we're supposed to be doing right now. My brain is fried. I needed to go to sleep much earlier than I did last night, but I was editing the video. Okay, so this is looking okay. Then pay annually. That's good. There we go. We got some padding up at the top. That's looking good. We still need to update that. Now, this is something that I was thinking about last night. My paywall benefits, not the paywall benefits, the paywall, the actual subscriptions. Let's get rid of this too. Wait, do I want to get rid of this? This kind of seemed like a better approach to me, but what do we do? Do we want to omit these values? Because it should just be... Okay, let's talk about it. This piece of code, I don't know if you saw it yesterday or not, but I ran into an issue where I made a stupid... this is part of being a programmer. You're smart, but you're stupid. So the stupid part of me was like, I could not figure out why my UI was not changing. And the reason for that was I didn't have a, like, I forgot what they even call it. It's not a view modifier. It's like a, I think they call it an attribute. Man, I'm sorry. My brain is just not up yet. Why is this not back to what the hell? Okay, this is actually the problem. I don't even know what happened right here. Okay, so essentially, so much to talk about. Okay, so essentially, this is a struct. Structs are value objects. Essentially, when you're working with a value object, it's like that's the value, and that's all there is to that. You're not really supposed to update values. Apple decided, like, nah, F that. What we're going to do is we're going to update value objects. Okay. And there's like a lot of good things that go behind it. But essentially, what we need to do is, one, this is a let, which is constant, right? And that needs to be a variable, one. You would think no, not necessarily, because these are objects, right? View model is a class, right? And in-app purchase service is also a class. So like, it's not that we're actually changing the class itself. So why would it need to be a variable? Well, these are actually observed objects. Observed object. And an observed object allows you to watch for changes on that object. So if something inside of in-app purchase service or view model changes, one of the published properties, let's take a look at that. One of these properties that are marked with published, then it will notify the struct to update the view. And that's how we get this kind of effect where as soon as something changes, it updates the UI, right? And we weren't seeing that because I had it set to let last night, and yeah, it's a stupid mistake. Anyway, I hope you guys were able to see that. I don't know if I was just talking to nothing. I wasn't paying no attention. Yeah, you guys should have been able to see this. Okay. So then I decided, because I couldn't figure out what was going on, I decided to add in this subscription publisher. which is part of reactive programming because I'm using Apple's internal or first party reactive programming framework, which is called Combine. And if you're a Swift developer, this is similar to RX Swift and reactive Swift. And then if you're a web developer, this would be I forgot what you guys use, but it's like kind of like React, I think. Yeah. It's been a while. But anyways, this allows us to emit values over time, right? And this combine existed before. Oh no, it didn't exist before, but yeah, it was one of the approaches that I was thinking of using because I couldn't figure out why the UI wasn't updating. It was because of the app published property or the app observed object properties that I didn't mark. So then now I'm trying to figure out like what's best, and I think that like combine isn't necessarily the best option here because we're only going to be emitting one object or like one value. So maybe we get rid of this. Yeah, I think we get rid of that because combine is useful for values over time, like maybe keyboard clicks or something like that, or yeah, just a stream of information essentially. I don't know. I can't think of another example. Errors would probably be good. Get several errors over time, but I don't know. Combine existed. Reactive programming in Swift existed before async await existed. Yeah, and now that we have async await, that's the preference, and as it should be, especially when you're only receiving one value that's just asynchronous. So I think we're going to keep this. The thing that I don't know how I feel about most is observing this object. Like, do I really want in-app purchase service to be the thing that's in control of my subscription products? Like, that's something I just don't know. Right? Like, I don't know if I want to directly observe. Like, I don't know if I want to tie this directly to my UI. I guess it's. I don't know what the problem would be. And this is how Apple implemented it. Remember, like, I copied all of this code from Apple. The Apple engineers did it this way. And while they do a lot of stuff that's just like unnecessary in their demo projects, like there's a reason why they implemented this specific functionality like that. So suppose we could always change it later. I'm trying to think of like testability too. Not that I've even written any tests for this project yet, but I don't know. I kind of feel like when I request products, I should just get products out. That feels like the more logical. That feels like the more logical way to go. But at the same time, we're doing things like this, like the purchase subscriptions, we're doing the same thing. So update customer product status, like we're holding all the purchased subscriptions directly inside of this object up here. Let me make sure I'm out of the way. So we're doing this. Let's just go with it. Let's see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We could always change it later. It's not like this is anything permanent. All right. So we're listening to. Okay. Yeah. See, transactions would also be a good. This would also be a good like listen for transactions. That's like a very like whenever you see listen, that's like a reactive programming type keyword. Listen. So it's kind of interesting the way that we're going about it. That's okay. All right. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. Um, and then lastly, let's get a restore purchases button in there. So we should have like a restore purchases underneath. And let's take this padding out because that feels like a little bit excessive. Oh, this is broken now. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove listen, remove this. Get subscriptions. We're not doing that. On up here. Okay, so we could wrap this in a task because it's asynchronous. I don't know why it's so heavily indented. Let's see. Actually, this should be a call to the view model. Shouldn't it? Oh, we can't because we're doing it like this. Okay. All right. See, that's the other thing. It's like we have these errors that we have to handle too. See, this is the thing about SwiftUI. It's like it makes it very hard to interact with view models. I'm thinking that maybe we shouldn't, but like having all this code like bunched together just drives me insane. The separation of concerns does not exist in SwiftUI. And if you try to make it exist, it's very, it's so complex. All right. I suppose because we should have like an error published property. Errors. And we'll just wrap this in a do block. Do catch VM append, errors dot append error. Or let's just do it like this, because I'm not really ready to handle multiple errors right now. I don't even have like a error handling view or anything like that yet. And then we could do like a sheet or something like that. Not a sheet, but an alert. Is presented. And oh, they don't have this. It's got deprecated. So I don't even know what to put in here. And now it's saying that it needs to be a localized error. So what we could do, constant VM error not nil, VM.error, and then we have to do like this alert title, and we also have to do this. And wait, what's going on? Expect 0 arguments, but 1 was used. Okay. So then what are you complaining about? Type any localized error cannot conform to localized error. Localized error is a protocol. Error, I think, is also a protocol. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do IAP error, and now we need to change that to a localized error. Which also means that there needs to be a description, I think. I don't know. Okay, I will go with that. All right, that error goes away. Requires that alert conform to view. Build expression. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Dot error. Dot. Let's see. Okay. They make this like API too complex. Let's look it up. All right, SwiftUI alert. Stupid. Deprecated. Use a view modifier like. Use the same thing instead. All right. Alert is presented. Did error. What the hell? Did error details? presenting details. I so strongly disagree with the choice that SwiftUI has gone. Maybe I think my next project I might just go back to UI kit. Oh man. So the alert title, but what about like the message? Imagine this. Look at this is disgusting. Who said that you can make an API so ridiculous? Look at this. The actions. This is so ridiculous. So, this is so ridiculous. They have one type for the title, right? So they expect you to put the alert title, which is just like a string of text, right? Okay, the title has to be text, but the message has to be wrapped in a text view. Who said that this was okay? What were they thinking? Maybe we should just create our own Swift UI. There's like the potential simplicity of Swift UI, the potential simplicity of Swift UI is amazing. You can do so much with so little code. But then you get sucked into these use cases to where it's like, I need to do this thing, a very common thing. It's not even like something that's uncommon. It's like a common thing. But it's not something that like you're immediately going to run into on like Hello World or something like that, right? As soon as you need to do anything like that, it's like, oh, well, you have to go through this ridiculously inconsistent, complex API that doesn't make any sense, doesn't make anything easier or better. And you're still limited in like what you can do, right? Like, so message probably only allows like this text. Like I would be happy if it allows something different. Like maybe if I could put an image in there. But I don't even know if I don't even think that you could probably do that. Maybe you can. Maybe that's why they want it. Maybe it's like, oh well, you could put like a whole image in there. You know what? If you allow me to do that, I'll accept it. But as of right now, shame on you. All right, so let's figure out which API we're even using first. This has gotten out of control. Why does it already think that I want a localized error to be here? So that's the other thing. If it is actually expecting an error, damn, this is ridiculous. Okay. Some error, right? Is presented. can't even believe that they want it like this. VM dot error is not equal to nil. Presenting okay, so this is the object that they want us to pass in. Okay. This part I can okay, I could work with this presenting part. All right, let's just do a couple of different things. First, I'm gonna make an extension on a Boolean. Or extension on optional. And we'll do var is not nil. It's a Boolean. Self is not equal to nil. That allows us to do this. Is not nil. Some people will hate this. People like go insane about these things. Kotlin has it right. They have like all of this like is like well, I don't know if they have it for nullable, but like for empty, like is empty and is not empty, like they have that in there. So that's pretty nice. All right. And this is how my code gets all nasty. I just like throw random things in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll create a new struct called paywall error. All right. And we'll say let title, let description, and these should actually be localized keys. And it'll still work with like a hard-coded string anyways, but yeah. Oh, and then let's see, we have the title. Okay, we would need that as the object. What else did they have in there? An ID for I don't know what reason. All right, so we should actually create it with all right, I think this is all we need. We may end up with an ID simply because I don't know why it needs to be identifiable. What are they doing that helps it with being identifiable? Unless where's their object details? Okay. Unless this object needs to be identifiable, where S is a string, A is a view, M is a view. What about T? It doesn't say anything. So T can be whatever. What's the benefit of having identifiable then? I suppose like if you had another one, Like that could potentially handle multiple errors, I guess. I don't know. So far we don't need it, so let's not add it. I want to see what happens. And then we'll add an extension on the error. And it will be, let's see, a static. Can we do an initializer? Init from error from IAP error. That title is equal to, okay, IAP error for now, and then self.description is equal to something bad happened. All right. I'm doing this because we would essentially switch. So we could like switch on the error. And we could do some stuff. We would be able to like add in the different values right here. But I don't want to do that just yet. So how do I do this? Like, to do. And implement title and description for each error type. All right. So we can add a to do right here. I think I could do a space. So now, instead, what we could do is we could do a paywall error. Paywall error. This should break somewhere else though, unless we're not handling errors right now, which we're not, I guess. What about this one? This should break. Yeah, that one should break. It will break after we get rid of this. But yeah, we'll do vm.error, and we'll do title, and that's going to complain because it's optional. All right. Then we do is not nil, and presenting, we'll say our error, our VM error, VM error. So then we're giving our paywall error in here. And this is the button. All right, so we'll say button, and we'll just say dismiss. And we'll have an action that, I don't know, doesn't really do anything, but we'll make sure that it destroys our error. And again, we have a paywall error in here, and then we need to wrap this in text. Paywall error dot description. But if we're going to verify like this API was created for a reason, because now I'm slightly annoyed. Image. So this is going to be an image system name, exclamation. I actually don't know the name, so let's check SF symbols. I want the one with the circle. I don't know why. I just want the one with the circle. Exclamation mark circle. What was this? Did you see that? Like I clicked on one and it shot into some random direction. I don't know what. And to be fair, I don't even blame the developers. I blame the project managers at Apple, because every time I've come into interaction with like the developers for any company, the iOS developers all are kind of on the same page on what they want. And it seems like the people that are not the developers tend to have these like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they think, but like, it's not what the community wants. Or like, maybe they're like disconnected from the community, which is so odd, because I know that there's people from the Swift community that are on the Apple team. So I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I Yeah, I don't understand like why they make things the way that they make them. Okay, so the way that we can, okay, so this is why I did this thing down here, this paywall error extension, right? Is because now we can do paywall error from, and then we pass in the error that's automatically implied through this catch statement. Unless I can't do that. Okay. Okay, that was my fault. Okay, so this is IAP error as IAP error. And so, and then we have to catch. I'll just print this error. Luckily, this is changing. So we just got in Swift Evolution, the team that works on Swift is going to has approved of a change to where it's like when you have a do catch block, because you have a auto generated error for you, which is what we were using before. And what's going to change is like now there's going to be the ability to have a typed error, so that we don't have to have this additional catch statement down here. I believe that is what the change was. So yeah. Okay. So now, actually, now we still have to do this because I'm not going to be able to generate an error easily, and I have to be able to simulate that paywall error from title and description. Fake error. This is getting kind of stupid. all that just to check to see if this is actually going to work. So now let's go ahead and modify one of our buttons to see if this works the way that we think that it should be working. And we could do that in here. And we can say VM dot action. Let me see, VM dot error. What are we trying to do here? VM dot error, which is of type IAP error, paywall error, paywall error. Okay. So why did I have to do this? I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we'll have it equal to this. Okay. So now when we hit the try free for 3 days button, it's going to generate that error for us, which should then trigger all of this garbage. This, and this. So let's take a look. Where's my simulator? Is it active? Let's try that one more time. Okay, yeah, there it goes. All right, so now we hit the error. Oh my God, so it doesn't even show. This is getting kind of stupid. Where is this image? So this entire API is just ridiculously stupid for like no apparent reason. Let me make sure that I didn't mess up. Person. I know that person is one that exists on SF symbols. Yeah, this just does not work. What are you talking about? Why this API if it doesn't even do what it's supposed to do? Like, why give me the option if you're literally only going to make... Hold on. Let's make sure. So resizable. Okay, frame. And let's just make sure that it's not just getting smashed into oblivion. I might be wrong. Let's find out. Nope, I'm not wrong. Yeah, I didn't think I would be wrong because, like, honestly, you can't even add an image in here in UIKit. So SwiftUI is like, I can't even remember if it's even a wrapper around UIKit. I don't think that it is. But this is, oh my God. This is so bad. Strongly disagree. I don't know why they made this API this way. This doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to me. Action message, returning a message for the alert given the currently available data. I can't even believe them on this one. The other disgusting thing, like they make this like not backwards compatible. Like who are you to not make this backwards compatible? This is like laziness. I don't know if the people that that are in charge of making the decisions about these APIs use SwiftUI enough to even understand how bad this is. The other thing is like Apple should be held to the same standards as the rest of us in using the APIs that are available, not using hidden APIs. Like so you can modify things mostly in UIKit if you can find their name and access them directly, even though you're not supposed to do that. You can do that, and you can like access APIs that only Apple has like is only supposed to have access to. Oh man, but like yeah, like this is bad. Look at all this. So like it has to be like this part I understand. Like you want the title to be a string. Fair enough, but the message should also be a string. Maybe they were thinking maybe if it's a label. Let's try it one more time. Label. So we have our title key and we have an image. So we want to do system image, right? Paywall error dot description, and then do person. Okay, maybe this will work. Maybe you specifically have to use a label and you can't use an image for whatever reason. It just bees like that sometimes. Oh, hi. I don't know why the simulator's not popping up. This is also extremely annoying. Yeah. Okay. Well, just prove to you that SwiftUI can be extremely stupid. It's things like this that make me say that Flutter is a much better developer experience. Like 1,000 times better. I much rather write in Swift. Still prefer the language, even though they did all kinds of stuff to it that like just made the language extra ugly. Like this, view modifiers. This was one of the worst decisions in Swift, in my opinion. One of the worst. Like this code is just nasty looking to me, but yeah, overall Swift is still my preferred language, even though Dart would be, I'd probably like Dart better if it had things like enums with associated values, because I love enums with associated values in Swift. And then what else? What else does Swift have? Or what does what else does Swift have? Oh, no semicolons, that's a given. And then I still am confused by, I think Dart has mix-ins. I never took the time to really learn the exact different of mix-ins and things like that. So there were still some areas that I had to fully grow and understand. But Dart, a very solid language. It just doesn't like if I think even if you just got rid of the semicolons, it'd be like way better. Okay. Damn. What a stupid waste of time. I don't even know what we're supposed to be doing right now, but yeah, we found out that this API is stupid. Okay. So we did a thing. Let's just focus on getting our data. I can't even think right now. I'm like so frustrated. I'm so like angry right now that I even spent that amount of time just to like check to see if SwiftUI was as stupid as I thought it was. And the thing is like I've been working with SwiftUI for a while now, but they change stuff every single year. They deprecate stuff every single year. Even if it's relatively new, they still deprecate stuff. And then they make it not backwards compatible. And then, I mean, we're on like what, iOS 16 now, right? Oh no, we're on, no, yeah. What are we on? I have to check. I don't even know what we're on. I don't follow Apple that closely anymore. I am not their fanboy anymore. Okay, so we're on iOS 17. This is like N minus 2, so like this would be relatively okay. Okay, so we're just gonna talk about it for a second because I can't even code in this state. Okay, so in iOS development, because we're fortunate enough as Apple platform developers to have customers or users that are always running the latest operating system, right? If we were to check, actually, let's take a look. I think we can check right here. Apple iOS version usage or something like that. Interesting. What is this? Nah, this isn't right. This can't be. The following table displays the cumulative usage of each major version of iOS. Interesting. I wonder if they're not even showing this anymore. iOS version adoption. Interesting. They used to show this right on Apple's website. And if they're not, it's because they're getting a drop in adoption. Okay, hold on. 90% of all devices introduced in the last 4 years, it didn't used to say that, use iOS 16. I don't think it used to say this statement. Yeah, it used to say this statement. And this used to be a lot higher, I think. And we're on iOS 17. Yeah, this isn't even a beta. We're on iOS 17. Damn, that's not good for them. This is still relatively good. I mean, Android is like just garbage adoption because they're man, this is crazy. Okay. Yeah, Apple has been slacking for sure. And this is like why I'm not a fanboy. Like actually one of the things that made me not a fanboy was because their ecosystem no longer works for me. Like I can't sync images across things anymore. Anyways, iOS 16 was last year too. That's bad. And we're already coming up on iOS 18 essentially. So this is actually really crazy. But this was measured on May 30th, 2023. So May 30th, this is right before WWDC, I think, or something like that. So that's probably when they do the measurements. All right, fine, fair enough, whatever. But I believe that I want to say that they used to measure it like 2 weeks after, and then you would see like essentially 90%. I think it used to be like 92% adoption after like 2 weeks. It used to be something like really crazy like that. Like the iOS user base would generally update their phone, but in the latest operating systems, like there's nothing that really stands out that is causing people to adopt apparently, or there's some reason why they're not adopting it, but also like their phones haven't improved drastically in the past couple of years either. So maybe it's just like not enough people are buying newer ones. Like this is a relatively old phone. This is the iPhone 13 or yeah, like iPhone 13 or something like that. And yeah. But the anyways, going back to what I was going to say. The idea was that most of the iOS user base is generally up to date on the latest operating system. So, when you create an app, you only do the current version, which ours is for iOS is currently iOS 17, right? So you would only do the current version minus one, and that would be iOS 16 because we're on 17, so we do minus one, 16, right? And you can see that they have an adoption rate of 90% for iOS 16. So like you're covering at least 90%. Now, this is generally fine if you're like an indie developer or a smaller team. It's fine to only support 90% of the user base most of the time. The remaining 10%, if they're not upgrading, it is potentially due to having an older phone. Somebody that has an older phone maybe is not necessarily spending a whole lot of money on the App Store anyway. One of the possibilities. I don't know. Anyways, but supporting just n minus one, we call it like n minus one, number minus one, is usually okay. N minus two, even better. And that would get you even higher. So I think that's like usually about like 95%. So iOS 15 and up is probably like 95%. I don't know if they have the stats here. Usually not. This other site, yeah, I don't know. Okay. I don't know where they're even getting these numbers. It's saying 85%, but the other one was saying this one was saying of all devices used. Okay, so maybe it's doing of all devices. So 81%, so maybe it shot up to like 85%. So this is cumulative usage. So it's probably like also 85%, right? So iOS 16, this is N minus 1. And then N minus 2 is 94%. So that's pretty good, 94, 95. Bigger companies, they definitely need to close that gap, because when you have something like, let's say X, for example, you have a company like X or Instagram or Facebook, even if you're not as big of a company as that, when you have millions of users, like 5% is a bunch. It's like a lot. So you definitely have to close that gap. So like if you needed to support 99% of devices, you're like stuck all the way back in like iOS 11. And this is the reason why if you go work at a larger company, even medium and up, if you work at a medium-sized company and up, they are not working with like the latest technology. Like you'll end up seeing code bases, like the bigger the company, the older the technology that they're most likely using, more likely than not. So super giant company, you're still probably working on some areas of the app in Objective-C. Swift has been out for a long time now. It's almost a decade old. It's gonna have a big birthday this year. But yeah, there's still gonna be parts of their code base that are still in Objective-C. One of the major factors for that as well, like outside of supporting older devices, is also interoperability with C++. And yeah, the reason why you would use C++ in your iOS app is just simply because C++ has been around since forever. And you can use a library, like something that's like for security reasons or whatever, maybe like image processing library, anything that's like very commonly used. You would use a library that's been battle tested for years, not just like decades, not just years, right? So you'd be able to use a C++ library that you've been using for the past 20 years that's still maintained, and it will work flawlessly. And then you just have Objective-C interact with that. And then you can actually, since Objective-C and Swift have interoperability, which means that they work together, you would have Objective-C code in your Swift code base as well. Or maybe it started off as Objective-C and then you're adding Swift code to your Objective-C code base. That could potentially go away. It's called Objective-C++, is like the unofficial terminology used for this, because you're using C++, you're using Objective-C as a wrapper around C++. And yeah, like that could be like your only use case, because up until just, I think, last year, Swift actually got interoperability with C++, so that will help migrate some of those old code bases to using having a Swift only code base that a primarily Swift code base that interacts with an Objective-C plus, or with a C++ library. Anyway, all that to say that yeah, like when you have larger companies, or if you have medium to larger companies, you're working with older code bases. And if you look here, if you need to get at least 98%, right? That's iOS 12. Most of the good features in SwiftUI didn't even come out until iOS 13, and they're not backwards compatible. And then every single year, Apple is just like, oh, it's not backwards compatible. They'll just release APIs that are just not backwards compatible. So iOS 14, there was APIs that were released not backwards compatible to iOS 13. And it just kept going and going and going. So now, like, yeah, the iOS 15 will, now that it's N-2, a lot of the small to medium sized businesses can start using the even better APIs that came out during iOS 15, and they can use something like what we just saw in this garbage alert API right here. But like if you work with one of those code bases that needs to support those older devices, you don't even get access to this garbage API. You're just stuck with working with old code, and that's why you end up seeing like code bases still using UIKit. And they're using UIKit for a lot of different reasons. Like UIKit is more performant in a couple of different ways, or in a couple of different scenarios. Potentially, maybe all scenarios. I don't know. I haven't ran my own tests, to be honest. But I've seen a lot of a lot of examples online and on Twitter and stuff like that where UIKit was just like more performant for different reasons. SwiftUI is getting a lot better every release in terms of performance. But yeah, UIKit it's just like the same thing with C++. It's something that's been battle tested and worked on for years, and they're still working on UIKit too. So when you have that reliability, that's what larger companies tend to opt for, is reliability, not the new hotness, right? So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been having this thought lately where it's like, maybe I should just write a wrapper around UIKit and have it be like interoperable with SwiftUI. Like have like on the surface it works and it looks like SwiftUI. It can be plugged into your SwiftUI project, but it uses UIKit under the hood, and it's just more performant. And it has the APIs. You have access to all the APIs that you did in UIKit, because that's like, I just don't understand. I don't understand why they haven't done this. I don't get it. SwiftUI can be like really stupid in terms of what it can provide and what it can't provide. I understand that there's a need to support all these other devices, tvOS, watchOS, whatever. But like honestly, if your goal is to only like support like a small fraction of the developer user base, because that's what you're going to do anyways, right? You're already saying, oh, only companies that are interested in using the latest APIs and don't care about, that remaining, what is it, like 5 to 8% of customers that haven't upgraded, because Apple's like that, right? They don't care about whoever's like left behind. They don't care. Yeah, they're like, oh well, you can use this API on all these platforms, but it's like, who all is like so dedicated in making watch apps and TV apps that's not interested in making iOS apps and Mac OS apps? I don't know. The way that I feel about it is like, Apple would be helping more developers if they didn't support tvOS and watchOS, and they just focused on creating APIs that supported iOS and macOS. Like, it would help more people. It would help more developers. And yeah, like somebody's gonna be like, oh well, yeah, tvOS. I don't care. Like, I have a TV. I have an Apple TV. I have like, I don't know who's downloading apps for Apple TV, to be honest. Like, I don't even know. I don't know one person that is even would even think to do something like that. It's like I have my Netflix, I have my Hulu or whatever, Crunchyroll, and that's it. Like, I don't know. Anyways, this has been a long rant. This is the devlog. I don't. There was like not much cutting. It's just me like over here complaining about stuff, and at least I got to complain in peace. You know, it wasn't nearly as loud as the last two devlogs, but like definitely not the last one. And yeah, like just tell me what you guys think. Like, did this make sense? Is this even like? Well, I mean, you're still like I said, you're still here, so like obviously something is worth listening to or watching. But yeah, just let me know what you think. All right, keep coding passionately.